Welcome to episode 140 of In Touch with iOS, a podcast that talks about iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV, and related technologies. I am your host, Dave Ginsburg, and welcome back to my co-host, Warren Sklar. How you doing, Warren?
Good, thank you. Nice to
missed you in the last couple weeks.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I missed some good stories. So looks like we got a good list here.
Yeah, we got good stuff to talk about. But of course, we're going to have a lot more fun because Mr. Guy Serle from the MyMac.com podcast and Mac to the Future Go podcast is here. How you doing, Guy?
Hey, everybody. How you doing tonight? Yeah, this is, I guess, kind of a makeup for...
Well, I already asked you before it happened, so...
That's true. But, oh, my God, what a disaster last night was.
His camera's working good. And he's sounding good. We're ready to talk about iPhone, iPad, and iOS, all that fun stuff, and a lot of good news stories this week. And I got a couple product reviews I'm going to be talking about this show as well. We'll talk about that, and yeah, we should have lots of fun here. So let's get started here. And of course, I just lost my notes here. Let's go back. Let's start with the first story here. We all like Mac rumors, so we'll just keep that consistency going here. There is a leaker. There's always a leaker on Mac rumors. A leaker suggests that the Apple event is going to be held on March 23rd. Apple will hold its first event of the year on March 23rd, according to information provided by a reputable Chinese leaker, Dunru. And Apple is expected. Maybe I said that wrong. Apple is expected to launch AirTags, new iPads, and possibly even new AirPods at a spring event. And he believes the date will be on March 23rd. Initial speculation pointed this event to be the 16th as we before we record this. Actually, 16th would have been next week, but it's not. So they're looking about the 23rd. But everything changes. We don't know. This is all rumor. But I have pretty good feeling. Apple's track record has been pretty consistent that they end up having events in March. Of course, it's going to be virtual, and they're probably going to. I would hope they're going to release iOS 14.5, which we'll be talking about in a bit. Guy, what do you think?
Well, yeah, it's been a while since they've released anything of note since I guess December was the last big event, and it would kind of follow that that they would start off with something like iPads, and I'm still not sold on AirTags. I think for a major, because really, when you think about it, it's a brand new product category for them. So would they? That would probably be the headliner for an event like that. And I don't know if they would lump that in with a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, hard to say. Like I said, rumor, and more rumor. Any thoughts, Maureen?
No, except I think somebody else also, another leaker, maybe Prosser, said the same thing about a March event. So I think there was a few people.
I probably trust him more.
Yeah.
It's probably really more about what could possibly be released and whether there's actually going to be an event. And because they're all virtual now, does it really count as an event anymore?
I think these days it has. So last year what they had 4 events. So then they're all virtual. So
wake me up when the 16-inch.
He's itching. He's itching for it.
I'm itching. Yes.
Not one,
but 2.
The M whatever. I don't care.
M1X, M2.
It could be a M0.
Next story. This is in TechCrunch actually. Apple to invest $1.2 billion in Silicon Design Center in Germany. Apple has announced that its plans to increase its corporate spendings in Germany. In particular, the company wants to set up a new facility in Munich, Germany called the European Silicon Design Center. The team will focus on 5G and potentially future wireless technologies. The company said that Munich is already its largest engineering hub in Europe, and there's already 1,500 engineers working there. In particular, Apple has been putting together its own team of engineers working on power management chips. Overall, half of the Apple engineers working on power management are in Germany. Since then, Apple's teams in the country have expanded beyond power management to work on other chip designs. So this is going to be interesting to see. Now, Apple was partnering with Qualcomm with the 5G modems for the iPhone 12 lineup, so it's going to be interesting seeing where Apple goes with this. Warren, what do you think of this?
I mean, I don't have a lot of thoughts about it, but I guess people in America would have been happy here if they did it here, I guess. Keep the jobs over here, but if I was German, I guess I would be happy to get a job there.
Yeah, for sure. But Guy, you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah. Maybe Johnny Ive is going there. Maybe he's moving to Germany to design the chip, make it white with no holes.
Yeah, I think Apple has been getting a lot of negative press in Europe lately between lawsuits in Italy and lawsuits in Portugal, and the EU investigating them for, one thing or another. And it seems to me that these kinds of announcements, and it's really kind of a nothing announcement. It's more of a feel good kind of story, that it could possibly just be like, look, hey, we're employing all these people, we're the good guys. Yeah, that's us. So, don't get mad at us and do weird things with tax laws and leave us alone. Everyone's happy.
Yep. So, all right, let's move on and talk about iOS. iOS 14.4.1 was released earlier this week as we record this on March 8th. They released 14.4.1. It was a minor security update that comes with more than a month after the 14.4 update. Of course, the updates can be downloaded free. They're all ready to go through the settings and the software update. Of course, Apple's tends to be pretty quiet when it comes to security updates, but this related to a WebKit bug that could allow malicious crafted web content to execute code. Of course, Warren, you're on beta, so you don't even see this, but what'd you think of this?
I mean, when it came out and everybody saw it, everybody got excited for a minute, thinking it was
14.5.
Yeah, so that was a big buzzkill for everybody, myself included. But it came out of nowhere, so I'm assuming, you never know how long they've been working on this, but it's not usual they push out something in between big updates like that. So it must have been a big one that they did it, because they did it on everything. TV, the watch, did in the Mac too, right?
Yeah, Mac. I think there was a Mac one, yeah.
Mac OS, yeah. So whatever it is, it was nasty. But that's why we like Apple. They do things like that.
What's your thought, Guy?
Well, I'm on the 14.5 beta for my iPad. Well, just on the iPad. I'm trying to. There was the story about the not virus, the malware that came out. It was week before last, where it was one of those, and again, like with most malware, you have to jump through like major hoops to install it, and in some cases bypass Apple security, basically saying, "Are you really sure you want to? Are you really? Are you really super sure, super serious that you want to do this?" Okay, and then it gets on there. And Apple has a tendency to, once they find out about these things, to kind of over-engineer a solution for it, which can sometimes also be to the detriment of users when, stuff that they were used to doing before that was completely innocent now doesn't work at all. But I haven't heard anything like that for this latest release.
Okay. All right. Then, of course, they also had to release Watch OS 7.3.2 for the same reason with the code. So the Watch OS is up to date, so is the iPhone and iPad as well. So So we're now secure again. Until the next one happens. Yeah. Then next one, and we've been talking about this for a while here. The iPhone 12 mini faces production cut due to far lower demand than expected. This was just released a couple days ago. So as we record this, Apple is cutting orders for all iPhones by around 20%. Compared to its plan in December, with the iPhone 12 mini making up the majority of that cutback, according to a source here. And in line with previous reports, the publication that claimed this demanded for the iPhone 12 mini had been far lower than Apple initially expected. Reports claim that Apple initially aimed to secure components for up to 96 million iPhones for the first half of 2021, including the entire iPhone 12 lineup and older models like the iPhone 11 and the iPhone SE. But the company apparently now is targeting production around 75 million. Oh gosh, that's just so much lower here. So they're talking about that, and then they say the iPhone 12 mini demand has been so lackluster that Apple even asked some suppliers to temporarily stop building components for that device. So it's kind of interesting to see where it is. I mean, I know, Guy, you have the iPhone SE, the second gen, of course. What did you think of this? I think this is definitely interesting.
I think this was like a major misstep by Apple to have both an iPhone 12 mini and the SE at the same time. I think the demand for a smaller phone had pretty much already been met by people buying the SE. And so when the iPhone 12 mini came out, if they had, when the iPhone 12 line came out and the mini was part of it, probably what they should have done right away was stop selling the SE, so that people who wanted a smaller phone only had one choice, and it would be the iPhone 12 mini. But they didn't.
Yeah, I think there were two people out there, people who said, I want a nice, powerful, small iPhone, and then I want a nice, cheap, small iPhone. And
Venn
diagram. Yeah. So, the iPhone mini 12 mini is a nice iPhone, but it's not cheap. I mean, compared to, some other, the SE at least. But if you're the kind of person that wants a small phone and wants a powerful small phone, I think that's it. But I guess a lot of people thought they did and realized that the regular size wasn't that much different in size and price, and decided just to go a little bit bigger. It's a shame because, I'm sure there's a good amount of people that like it, but, they're not enough, I guess. I don't know why, I don't understand the supply, but you would think they would come up with a way to still continue to produce them just at a lower volume going forward and not worry about, maybe next year they'll do that. Keep it in the lineup and just have a better supply chain estimate on what they're going to sell. So who knows? It might come back.
It's kind of hard to tell, though. I mean, you can make all the estimates you want on how many people are going to buy what device, but it's still the consumer that decides that. So
it usually goes the other direction for Apple with the phones, right? They're usually like, if you don't order on day one, you're looking 7 months out to get your phone or AirPods or whatever like that. But so they usually underestimate, or at least give the appearance that they're underestimating.
Maybe,
but I don't think they're fudging numbers on this one. So yeah, you're right. It's hard to gauge.
But remember as well that of all the 5G phones currently being sold, I think the iPhone is like in the top 4.
I think it was top.
Yeah.
Positions 1, 2, 3, 4 are all iPhones, including the Mini, which says a lot about the sales of a lot of other people's phones. Yeah. They're not. I mean, they're still not outselling Android as an overall market, and
so many of them.
They may never outsell it,
because the problem with that is you can walk into a gas station and buy an Android phone
off the shelf.
it's just
Sam's Bait Shop and Android phone repair.
I mean, they're just on, like you grab your candy or Slurpee and it's not even like it's a brand you'll never ever hear of, like SOXY, like instead of like Sony, and it's runs a version of Android that you would never want to ever use in your life.
Absolutely.
Anyhow.
All right. This next story is in 9 to 5 Mac. Apple must face consumer privacy lawsuit in open court, judge rules. Apple has been denied an effort to move a consumer privacy lawsuit to private arbitration. The case involves customer complaints against Apple and T-Mobile over iMessage and FaceTime not being as secure as they've marketed. This was first reported by Bloomberg. The consumer lawsuit is based on multiple customer claims that an iOS bug plus T-Mobile's approach to recycling phone numbers created a privacy breach. Of course, they all goes on and on asking, and that Apple's that doesn't go into the courts. I could attest to the T-Mobile thing because I have gone cut a couple extra phone numbers and it just never fails. I mean, the number comes through. I even actually have the T-Mobile Digits plan, which allows me to have a second phone number for free. But when they call it, but it's not an actual line. It actually uses their Digits service. And boy, am I getting scams and spam and the crazy numbers through that because that was obviously a number that was renewed.
To introduce you, I had the same exact thing. I finally canceled it because it was unusable, and I kept getting the same call from the same person, looking for the same person. I'm like, I'm not actually. I don't even answer, but so, well, I came to that point.
Dave's not here, man.
I know everything about Ashley.
But what'd you? Oh, Ashley. So what did you really think of this, Warren, as far as with FaceTime and iMessage, the claim that it's not secure? I thought for sure it was secure.
I don't, and without reading into it, I'm guessing what happens is when somebody's phone number changes or go through, somehow it can still be tied to it's still tied to their iCloud account, iMessage account, and it's FaceTiming the wrong person, possibly. That's the only thing I think of this would be. But other than that, I don't understand it.
Okay. Guy, you have any?
What? Yeah, I don't understand what the issue is.
Do you have any thoughts on that, Guy?
Well, apparently there has been some leakage of data from iMessage and, from messages and from FaceTime. Was that the other one? Was it FaceTime and messages? The FaceTime one, I think, is like not really that big of a deal. I think that's mostly along the lines of like what you guys were talking about, where people who knew whoever owned that particular telephone number again keeps calling, or if the spammers will continuously batter those numbers. I mean, I've had the same telephone number on my phone for almost 10 years, and I get 3 to 4 robocalls a day, if not more. So the fact that a number that was being reused is also getting spammed, I don't think is that big of a surprise. The part that does concern me would be the messages leak. If people were able to get a hold of the data from within somebody's messaging services. And look at old messages or whatever, or get a hold of their contacts through messages. It's
supposed to be encrypted, so you would hope it's protected. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes.
Well, remember as well that both T-Mobile and Apple, as part of their EULA, have built in this thing where it's up to the company whether or not lawsuits of this nature first have to go through arbitration. And that's basically what the lawyers for all these the consumer rights organizations are saying that they didn't want to do. They wanted to force Apple and T-Mobile to do this through the open courts. And of course, T-Mobile and Apple just want all this to go away, which is why they were trying to force arbitration. The companies get more power with going through arbitration as compared to going through regular courts.
So, All right. We'll see what happens for sure with this lawsuit. And we'll definitely be reporting back here. Next story. This is an Apple Insider, actually. This is Apple Watch summons immediate help for a man who fell through ice. A New Hampshire man who was ice skating on a frozen river when he fell through the ice, but he was able to get help very close to instantly using his Apple Watch. Firefighters reported a 911 call minutes after William Rogers fell through the ice on Salmon Falls River in New Hampshire. He was skating on the ice, didn't realize the ice was thin enough to fall through. And he told himself, don't panic. We'll figure out the options. And as seconds passed, the hypothermia was verge of setting in, but he remembered he was wearing his Apple Watch and he used it to call 911. And I love seeing all these feel good stories with the Apple Watch, and it's just great, and it gives you even more of a reason why you'd want to have an Apple Watch just for this very reason. What do you think, Guy?
As long as it's not on a T-Mobile recycled number, sure. Yeah, you're good. But you're trying to call 911. No, I don't want a new car warranty. Leave me alone.
I want a car warranty. But no, it's good stuff. What do you think, Warren? We're losing your mic here, Warren.
Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
It's
barely.
I touched nothing.
Will you say that?
Yes.
Any better?
Yes.
That's weird. Do these dials go down on their own sometimes?
No. Not physical dials, no.
Okay. Anyways, I was just saying he's lucky as I was saying, he's lucky the watch didn't freeze up on him.
Yeah.
My answer.
Very lucky.
That.
But another feel-good story. We hear them all the time. And then the story actually is in Mac Rumors. The 2021 Chrysler Pacifica shows off Uconnect 5 with wireless CarPlay. They took a look at this about a couple of years ago when this car had the Uconnect 4, and they were adding both CarPlay and Android Auto. It's got good visuals. I have a Chrysler product. I mean, I've been using Uconnect for a while, but I have a really old car and don't have CarPlay. But they're in the early stages of creating this and updating models with the CarPlay. But this is just really a game changer here to make it finally wireless. I mean, I remember when I rented a car and I had to, you still have to have your Lightning connector to plug it into the USB port to get CarPlay to work on the old vehicles. So I think this is an excellent change that they're finally making and allowing it to be a good way of being able to do everything wirelessly now. So what do you think, Warren?
My wife had when they first did the redesign of the Pacifica the first time, where it looked more like a big station wagon. She had that car, the Pacifica, and it was a piece of crap. So that's all I can tell you about that. But other than that, I'm jealous of all the CarPlay people. I love the Tesla, but I would love a little CarPlay in that thing if they could do it.
Guy, what do you think? Wireless is going to be a good thing for CarPlay?
As long as the wireless includes charging, because if you still have to have it connected up through a power port or something along those lines to charge it at the same time, then what's the point of having it be wireless? I currently drive a Kia Soul, and one of the reasons why I bought the car that I did was, and it was a 2016, was because it had CarPlay. And I have found over the course of my lifetime that automobile makers do not know how to make an interface that is decent for car electronics. And it doesn't matter whether it's the heating and cooling systems or windshield wipers. It's different every single time. And even within the same manufacturers, it's different every single time you get a new car. And for those people who rent cars on a regular basis, they know the pain of having to get into a car that they're not familiar with and say, okay, well, where the hell is everything on this piece of crap? And looking all around. And one of the things that Android Auto and CarPlay have done has been to level the playing field as far as car infotainment goes. So now it doesn't matter what car you get into. It doesn't matter whether it's a Chrysler product or a Fiat or a Ford or whatever, you connect your phone and then you've got all of your stuff exactly like it is in the car that you left at the airport. So at this point, I would not buy a car that did not have CarPlay. I wouldn't even. I
agree with you 100%. My next car it must have CarPlay. So,
well, if you're happy with the car that you have now, just go to Crutchfield and
I don't want to do with that. It's a pain. Never comes out right. And plus, I have a Dodge Charger, and the Uconnect. It's got the full 10-inch screen, and it's integrated with the heating system. And, then you'll lose all the controls for that, and then it gets really messy. So, anyway,
yeah.
If you try to do that on a Tesla, it will drive straight into the Apple Store.
Yeah. So,
whether you actually have auto drive turned on or not, it's like, okay, that's it.
Enemy.
We're losing your mic again, Warren. So go check your volume. Next story. Apple now is allowing the ability to repair an iPhone Pro's cracked rear glass without repairing the entire device. Last month, they talked about that they introduced a same-day unit repair method for the 12 mini and the 12 models exhibiting issues that would typically need a full unit replacement. Now are offering this for the 12 Pro and the 12 Pro Max. Apple stores and Apple authorized service providers have now a new Apple rear system part that essentially is an iPhone enclosure that includes all the components except the display and the rear camera. And it gets the parts available in most of the repair centers. I see Apple doing smart things here because that's what they had done for many, many years with the iPhone, where you would have to replace the whole phone. And I think Apple is trying to get away from that. Guy, what do you think?
I think they're getting away from it because they're not going to have much choice. There's a lot of countries and various municipalities across even the United States that are saying we don't want to have to replace an entire phone because a screen is cracked or this small component or the power sensing unit has gone down. So the fact that you can go ahead and just replace those components, it's kind of a throwback to the old days, but at the same time, this should satisfy most of the people that have been upset at Apple for it being such a closed unit and not being able to repair these things. So, I mean, we'll see what happens with it. But I think that this is more of a response to that than anything else. Sure.
All right, Warren, you back? What do you think?
You hear me?
Still a little low.
Still low.
Levers all the way up. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, might have to move the mic a little closer.
Yeah.
Is this better?
Yes, but don't go crazy. What did you think of this? So the repairs, Warren?
I thought I don't understand it. You're replacing pretty much everything but the display and the camera, which is like $50 of parts for Apple. Yeah. But to me, they're almost doing. Can you hear me still? Mm-hmm. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. Not if you can't hear me. No, I get it, but it almost seems like if your screen is cracked and your back gets cracked too, you're kind of screwed because like if your screen is just scratched, not destroyed, and you live with it. Normally, in the past, you would get a whole new phone, but now you get a new phone with your crappy screen back on it. But I guess it's good, but I don't understand why it's pretty much 90% of the phone is considered a replacement. Just do the whole thing at this point.
All right. Next story. This was in Mac Rumors. Sonos, my favorite speaker company, unveils a portable $169 Roam speaker with AirPlay 2, sound swap, and more. Sonos announced this a couple days ago. Its new ultra portable smart speaker called the Sonos Roam, designed for use at home and on the go. It's designed to be even more portable than the Sonos Move, which I have behind me here, competing with the likes of an Ultra Ears Boom. Priced at $169 in the United States, the Sonos Roam is probably the most affordable Sonos speaker, I must say, yes, for sure. And it's very light. It's only under a pound. And Sonos says, despite it being smaller than a water bottle, it delivers powerful, adaptable sound that defies expectations. We can have all these adjectives in your place, but we got to listen to it here. And it goes on and on about some of the different class amplifiers, and it does work on a Wi-Fi network within range. You can do a stereo pair with it. So I think this is great to hear. I mean, I think, and with Sonos, what they make some incredibly great quality speakers. So I would anticipate nothing but real good speakers from them when it comes to this. And to be this portable, it's probably considered the more high end of the small speakers, because you can get some of these other small speakers down below, $100. So what do you think, Guy?
Well, Sonos is a name that a lot of people trust for sound. Sure. And the fact that you can just connect it up to your portable device that plays music, whether it's a phone or what have you.
This. Yes,
and it's got I went and looked at this. It's got like a 10-hour charge, which is typically going to be good enough for what most people are outside doing. So I think it's really going to depend on how it sounds, but Sonos typically makes good speakers. So for $169, I mean, who else is putting out something like this that should have quality sound? And it's Apple's HomePod Mini sounds really, really good, especially considering what size it is, but that you're tethered to the wall with that thing. So hopefully, Sonos has cracked the secret formula between good sounding quality audio and portability.
Look forward to seeing the reviews of from folks once they get their hands on it to listen to it. So, do you have any thoughts, Warren?
I buy it.
Yeah, well,
it's something.
You already have?
No, I haven't. I haven't yet, but I would. It sounds like if what the HomePod Mini should have been portable, in my opinion too. It should have been. I'm surprised. Or an option, and I'm surprised there's not. There might be something that comes out, third party, where you could plug it in to something portable with a battery. They make those for the some of the Amazon Dots. You could buy like this battery enclosure and put it in there and make it portable. So, it's beach ready. That's what I'm saying.
Well, the Move is too, but it's a lot heavier. That's for sure. It's not a pound. This thing probably weighs about 3 pounds, right. But it's incredible sound. So I'll be looking forward to see it. It goes on sale, I believe, pre-order on April 20th. We're recording this in earlier March, so we'll see what happens when it comes out in the market. And then last story we had here, and again, we've been talking about T-Mobile a lot this time around here. T-Mobile automatically is opting customers into expanded data collection program for targeted ads. T-Mobile is planning to automatically opt in customers in an advertising program that will see user web and mobile app usage shared with advertisers, reports the Wall Street Journal. In a recent privacy policy update, T-Mobile and Sprint customers were informed that their web and mobile app data was provided to advertisers will be provided on April 26th, unless you specifically opt out, which I did, can be targeted with ads such as sports or cooking. It applies to T-Mobile and Sprint customers, so it's covering everybody. But there is a way to opt out of this. You just go into your T-Mobile app, go to the More tab, select Advertising and Analytics, and what I did was I toggled off for all my to use my data to make ads more relevant to me, and I did it for everyone in my family on my plan. So what do you think, Ward?
I thought I got an email or something. I don't remember. I got an email saying we're doing this, and if you're okay with it, say yes, and if you're not, say no. I'll have to look for it. But I ended up saying fine, because if I'm going to get ads, I might as well get ones that I'm interested in. You're still going to get ads. It's just not going to be relevant to you. So I left it on. It doesn't bother me.
Well, because you love Facebook too.
But I don't remember. I know ads are everywhere. That's the thing. And then, I'd rather get an ad about, something computer related or geeky related than pantyhose and bras, to be honest with you. So
it's a feminine hygiene product.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. But, people were angry about it, but they're at least they're being upfront.
No,
and they're.
I'm glad I knew about it, and I'm glad I was able to go turn it off. So I don't want it. Any thoughts on this guy?
Yeah. This is kind of a slimy thing for T-Mobile to do. This is the kind of thing where you should get an email and it specifically says, if you want to be part of this program, click this button and we will opt you in. It should be opt in, not opt out. And if you decide to opt in, there should be some kind of financial recompense for doing so, and not just, well, we want to make more money, so we're going to include everyone in targeted advertising, whether you want to be there or not, unless you specifically say no. And this is I don't like this at all. I don't like that companies will do something like this without at least giving you the option to opt out as compared to, or to opt in as compared to being forced to go and opt yourself out.
No, I agree. All right. I think we got enough news for this week. Let's move on to our beta discussion as we do every week. iOS and iPadOS 14.5 Beta 3 is still continuing to be out there. Nothing has been updated since. Everybody's been itching to get their hands on 14.5, the real version, not the beta version. It's just been interesting to see where these things go here. I have an article here from 9 to 5 Mac, and they asked this the same question: when might Apple release iOS 14.5 to the public? And there's been a lot of speculation mounting about when the potential release is going to be to the public. I have this feeling, since we just talked about there's an Apple event coming potentially in a couple weeks, that maybe when they release it, because they're holding back of all the privacy settings that everybody's been up in arms about. But there's people that are putting a beta on it now because they don't want to wait anymore, because they really love the fact that you can be able to unlock your iPhone with your Apple Watch with the mask on. So, Warren, what do you think? Well, why do you think that Apple's been delayed? This is kind of unusual for Apple with beta releases usually.
Yeah, I've been saying this for a while. This is, just made the news and people know about it, and people are itching for it. And I know a lot of people that never used beta before are going to beta just to get this feature on there, which is probably not the best thing for Apple to have people doing this to their phones if they don't know what they're doing. I don't know why they just don't push it out. I've been running the betas. It's been 2 or 3 releases on this version already. I think we're on 2 or 3 or something, and it's fairly the same. It works. Once in a while, the Watch ID doesn't work. The Watch unlock feature doesn't work, but you just put your password if that doesn't work. But yeah, when did the beta come out? Like 3 weeks ago?
I think it's been at least 3 weeks ago. Yeah, at this point, beta 3.
Just in the last 3 weeks, if I didn't have this feature on, I would have, missed it. It's made my daily life much better, not having to, unlock the phone every time I look at it, especially at work. So, I posted on Facebook. I thought 2 weeks ago it was coming.
I remembered. I said, how do you know this?
Well, it was a week in between, and
we go on assumptions.
Yeah, I don't know whether, what are we on Thursday now? So probably not until maybe next week, but we'll see.
What do you think about this guy? I know you said you have your beta on your iPad, right? Have you been using that for a while?
Yeah. I think the biggest reason why they've been kind of holding off on this is they're trying to give developers a chance to update their applications, because right now, if you go into the app stores, you'll have some verbiage down there on the bottom that basically says, this app either collects XYZ or doesn't collect any data or something along those lines. But right now, it's on the honor system. So Apple is depending on the developers to be honest about the type of data that they're collecting. And when 14.5 comes out, that's when the rubber hits the road, and basically Apple's saying, okay, no more screwing around here. If we find out that your application is collecting data that you say you're not collecting, then there's going to be consequences. Right. So the delay to me says more along the lines of, Apple is letting developers know this is coming and this is going to happen. And you either have to update your applications to meet our expectations, or your applications are going to go away. And when you look at the fact that the iOS store is the biggest and most profitable for developers of any mobile app store that's out there, you've got to give developers some time, especially all these developers that have all these free applications that basically are just there to collect data and then sell off to the highest bidder.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think it's going to be interesting to see where it goes. There's been quite a debate with this whole thing with the privacy. Notably Facebook and Google, of course, were resistant to even doing an update. Google held back 2 months of updating their apps, and then they finally, there was a minor update to the Gmail app, I think a week or two ago. So it's definitely been interesting to see that Apple has decided to hold back on this a lot longer than normal with the beta releases. So,
well, one of the things I'm looking forward to with this is the updates to Apple Maps, because Apple Maps has gotten so much better over the years. However, when I'm doing long distance driving, I'm using Waze, because Waze just gives me the features that I want as I'm driving down the highway. And the new version of Apple Maps is supposed to be more like Waze in the types of reporting that it does. So I'm looking forward to that, especially with a potential trip to Florida over the next month or so.
Do you have something else to add, Warren? You're muted.
Yes, it was. I got you. No, microphone. No, your thing turned it off again. The slider went all the way. No, I'm muted. No more thoughts. Just everybody's waiting for it. It's good. Yeah. Let's go. Let's do it.
Yeah, even when we were on macOS Live, Brittany Smith said that she went and did the updates, and I didn't think she was the type to go onto a beta that and she did. So a lot of people are jumping. They're jumping because they want it. Yeah. They want that. So. Okay. So that's beta this week. And, I also, one thing else I wanted to mention on iOS, there was a story here about Apple Podcasts. The app is now going to let users follow, quote unquote, follow new content instead of subscribe, which, hallelujah, because I've never been a huge fan of the podcast app, honestly. I use Podcast has been my favorite podcatcher of choice, but Apple is making a small, but it is a notable change the way people can listen and sign up to get updates about new podcast content, with the company changing the word subscribe to follow in the podcast app. That the wording shift is in the podcast app was highlighted by Pod News, with the site pointing out that the word subscribe could have misled podcast users into thinking that the podcast cost money. Yeah, that makes sense using that word. So I guess it's more of a wording thing than anything else. But both you guys, I haven't used Apple Podcasts much, but I have to respect it because a lot of people who listen to this show do use Apple Podcasts to listen. So
I do. Yeah. I still use it. Me, this the way I understood this was it was more along the lines of following a podcast as compared to subscribing to a podcast means that you're not actually physically downloading the show to your phone or other device. You're basically just streaming it. So, if you have a device with limited storage, then you're going to save some space over depending on how many podcasts you have. If you listen to 100 podcasts, that could be significant. But if you're only listening to, 3 to 5 podcasts every month or every week, then you probably wouldn't really even notice.
All right, let's move on. I've got a couple reviews I'm going to do. A couple review units were received, so I wanted to give these folks props as well as talk about their products. I did use it for a little bit. The first one I have is made by a company called GoDonut, which is kind of like donuts. I want to have some donuts, right? I know that's what you and I said, Guy, before the show. And their website, GoDonut.com. And what they've come up with is a universal stand. I'm showing it on camera here for those watching on the feed. And it's a really solid little ring that allows you to be able to not only hold the iPhone, you're also going to hold the iPad. It's got two different angles, so it goes into a tilted angle, so you can just set it on a table and being able to watch video on your iPhone or your iPad. And then the second angle brings it all the way down flat, so you could actually hold the device and lay it flat. It's pretty solidly built. I'm very impressed with this. And they've got two types of devices. They actually have a regular donut, and then this also, of course, comes in multiple colors. But it also has a donut 360, where it's got this little base here, and it's a plastic base that mounts to the donut. And actually, now I can use either one of these donuts if I decide to switch colors, and it does fit because it has pin slots that this will pop into. And the plastic mechanism that goes for the 360 is just basically that it pops right into the donut. You take off this ring, and there's a ring that actually holds it in place if you don't want it to spin. And when you take that out, it spins freely. You're going to hear that the way it's moving. So it gives you a 360 degree way of moving your device back and forth. Now, it is pretty solid. I was pretty impressed of how solidly built it is. It's like a rubber plastic roll. I'm pushing this really hard, and it's pretty hard to squash this thing. With the iPads, depending on what iPad you have, I tried it with my iPad 11 inch, and it holds it pretty good. If you go into either one of the modes, sometimes it's not so terribly stable. You're almost better off having two GoDonuts and having the iPad, and especially if you have a 12.9 inch device. So, I think it's a pretty cool device. Not too terribly expensive. You can buy it for $24.99. It's available on Amazon or on their website. And then it's $29.99, I believe, for the one with the 360. So not too terribly expensive. I'll just double check those prices. And they got a couple different styles. This is the GoDonut. The GoDonut Original is kind of like a really plain looking color. This ones I have are the glazed, so I'm making me feel like I'm getting hungry. I want to eat donuts. Those are that's more of a shiny finish. That's $24.99, and then the GoDonut 360 that includes that spinning disc is at $29.99. So. Guy, have you used any of these types of stands for your iOS devices at all, or do you just have cases, or what do you usually use?
Well, I have one for my phone that folds kind of flat that I'll carry with me when I'm traveling. Something I had a number of years ago was made by a good friend of the MightyMic podcast, James Turner. It was made out of wood that he would basically make in his shop. It was called the Wood Pad, and it was the same kind of thing, sort of. It was like a rectangular block of wood, and you had two different viewing angles that you could put a device in. I don't remember how much it costs off the top of my head. He doesn't make it anymore, unfortunately. But there's always a market for these kinds of things, because especially if you don't have a case keyboard kind of thing where, you'll have multiple viewing angles, something along those lines. So people who just want an iPad, especially if you're using it as a consumption device, these kinds of devices are godsends, because you put it on the kitchen counter and you watch whatever it is, whatever content you want to watch in the kitchen or the bedroom or wherever. You're good to go. And
that's what I like about this GoDonut. I mean, a lot of times I'll go sit down on our island down in our kitchen, and I'm grabbing a quick bite for lunch. And of course, because working from home, that's generally where you're going to go. You don't want to be sitting at the desk you're sitting at all day long. So I put the GoDonut right down on the table there, and have my iPhone sitting on there sideways, and I'll watch a video while I'm doing it, and it beats having to set it up against like a basket or something that's on the table here. So, Warren, what do you think? Do you think there'd be something that you would be interested in getting, the GoDonut?
Yeah, it looks like a huge pop socket. kind of thing to me. But did I look at it? Show me the actual thing.
Yeah, you got to turn your volume up again too, or get closer to the mic.
Jeez. Well, I don't know. So that's So, and that's the thing that spins, or
this?
No?
Yeah, this is this is the donut itself, and then this is the spinning that makes it the 360. That just there's pins on the bottom of it. I'll show you on this one. You can see it on the camera, but of course people listening can't see that. But and then it just sits and it'll just spin, so you can spin it instead of you having to actually physically move it. It actually has a spinning disc. Right. Yeah, so I think it's a pretty ingenious thing, and the thing is, it is universal, so it can be used with pretty much any tablet and any smartphone. I know I saw they were interviewed on Mac Voices, the CEO and the marketing person, and those gals were showing it. They actually put their Surface Pro in there as a propping it up when they were using the webcam on their Surface Pro. So it's got a lot of applications. It's universal, which is nice. But it fits really well with the iPhone and the iPad for sure. So, all right. Next product, I did talk to these guys at CES, and they came up with a product called the MightyMic, and it's made by Amperage. Let me.
Did you say microphone?
I said microphone. I knew, and I knew. I purposely put this on this show, Guy, because I knew you'd get excited about it. So, It is a Bluetooth wireless microphone that works perfectly with with your iPhone or your iPad, anything that's Bluetooth. And this is it on the camera here. I don't know. Obviously have all these links in the show notes. It's almost about the size of a small thumb drive, honestly. And this does have the wireless, the Bluetooth 5.0. So it's the latest, greatest of that. It can act as a Bluetooth device that'll clip onto your shirt and be able to talk. Or what you also can do is you can plug in a lapel mic or a handheld mic, because it does have a mic jack at the top of it, and showing this on camera, you guys can see it. So that plugs in now as a mic. So, and it has switches on the side, so it allows you to be able to go between external or internal mics, as well as the mic sensitivity there's a setting on it here that has that. So,
so it's also kind of an audio.
It is an audio interface as well. This will actually act as a speaker, so you actually could play back if you wanted to use it for a monitor. If you weren't using it as a mic, it can do that too. So it's pretty slick here. I actually I'm gonna see if I was going to attempt to pull this off. I did record something. Sound is okay. I mean, I don't think it's anything really bad. So let me go ahead and I'm going to enable this so I can hear this. And I'm going to play you. The first one I'm going to play is I recorded this with a lapel mic. So take a listen to this.
This is the lapel mic that's plugged into the MightyMic Pro. Wanted to see what this sounds like. Let's see what kind of good quality sound we're getting out of this.
So not bad. It wasn't too terribly bad. That was with the lapel mic. So let's go ahead and let's play the through the Bluetooth device itself.
This is a demo for In Touch with iOS. Wanted to see what the MightyMic Pro mic sounds like.
So a little muffled, I thought, from using that Bluetooth, but for the most part, I think for what its application is, and they're marketing it for being able to be interviewing somebody. You could have put the lapel on there and on their shirt, and then you could get a handheld and it'll all be there and go Bluetooth. Comes in handy when you're doing the interviews. So Guy, you being the mic guy, what do you think?
I'm always interested in new ways to spend money on microphones that I probably shouldn't spend. I hit the link that you had in the show notes. I'm not. Yeah,
that was the wrong link here. Let me. I'm sorry. I put the Amazon, and that's another product that they sell. That's the. Let me put this in the show notes here. It's Amperage.com is the company name. AMPRIDGE.com, and I will put that link in the show notes to make sure I have the right link this time. I'll put this here. you can get to that. If I can paste it, there you go. And this will give you all the information about this product. And again, it's called the MightyMic Pro. You'll get up to 30 feet of range with the DSP noise reduction. It does have extended battery life, so you get about 9 to 10 hours. And it could use battery packs if you want to. It's got the USB B small micro plug, so you could plug it in there. It does work with the DJI gimbals mounts, and one of the things it does use is the apps that it works with the best, especially with video, is Filmic Pro, which is probably one of the de facto superb video apps that are out there for video. But they have some other apps that they have on their site here that shows what it's also able to do. But it's again, they call it a multifunction wireless microphone. Again, I interviewed these guys from CES, and they were kind enough to provide this review unit. For the most part, I think I'm pretty impressed with it. It'll work with Zoom, with Skype, Teams, so you could utilize it for there if you wanted to as well. So it'll connect to your Mac, as well as if you were going to use your iPad or your iPhone.
That's the M1.
Oh, what's that? Oh, yeah, if you have any Bluetooth issues with your M1. So, anything you think of, Warren, you like about this, which is something you would use? As you're muted.
Yes.
I
mute because I'm playing around in the settings. Is it too loud?
Yeah.
So
we need to talk.
It was perfect. I didn't change it.
Yeah, now it's overmodulated here. So, all right, let's go on. I got one.
Well, it's $80.
$79.95. You can't beat it. If you want, you can get. Yeah. They do sell extra mics if you want to. I already had the lapel mic. Actually, this is from our. What was the name of our board that we got? The set I had that came with it. I forgot the name of it. No, the Rodecaster Mini that we bought.
Yeah.
I got it sitting over there, but I'm not going to go look. But yeah, but I had a monocast. But I had already had another lapel mic like this because it's got the the 3-notch prong plug for it. Then that's a specific mic that'll work, and it worked perfectly with this. So,
iPhone has a jack like that.
$79.95. Yeah, you can't beat it. And I definitely think it's something though worth checking out. So. All right, let's getting close to the end of the show here. Let's go ahead, and I got one app I wanted to talk about this week, and I guess it's more of a new service. I'm a pretty big fan of Guy Fieri, and he's got your name, Guy. Guy. Yeah.
Like him already.
And he, of course, he's well known for doing diners, drive-ins, and dives, and he's on the Food Network. Does a lot. Is a pretty awesome chef. He had a lot of restaurants around the country, and of course, he's been a big advocate of helping folks that have been less fortunate being able to work because of the pandemic. So, he created what's called the Guy Fieri's Flavortown Kitchen. That's what he's known for, and what he's done is he's bringing all the foods that, and he's got a restaurant in Vegas and a lot of places around the country. So what he's done is he's bringing little delivery shops that make this food all over the country. And they've got local locations here where I live. And I'm sure they have them out by where you live, Guy, and Warren as well. And, thought this is a cool concept. And does not have a restaurant front at all. It's just basically a kitchen, and they'll cook the food for you, and then it's delivered, and then they deliver it to you. So, and the app is pretty cool. It's got the menu. It tells you what food is available, and of course the app itself is free. And check it out. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, the cool thing about this is that it's not like he has set up these kitchens all over the country. Right. It's basically already established local restaurants that already have all of the bits and pieces to make whatever the meals are. And he provides the recipes. He provides guidance as to how it's supposed to be prepared. Right. So generally, if you order something through this application, no matter where you are, it's going to be similar from whatever location you get it from. And it's a great idea.
Thought so. And how fitting it's on the iOS on iOS and on your iPhone, and I think it's good stuff. So, Warren, you got anything to add, or is your mic still?
Well, I'm using my headphones.
Yes.
Can you hear me at least?
Yes.
All right. So we'll worry about the mic later. No, Guy Fieri, I've been to a couple of his restaurants. He has one in Vegas that we go to, and yeah, it sounds great.
It's great.
I don't have much else to talk about that.
It's just that was an interesting app and an interesting service come out this week. So, all right, let's go ahead and wrap things up here this week. That was a good show. Got a lot of good information, and hope you enjoyed it. And that's a wrap for this week. Please send your comments, questions, and suggestions to our email address, feedback@intouchwithios.com. You can follow us on Twitter @intouchwithios. You can subscribe in your favorite podcatcher, including Apple Podcasts and many others. We're even on radio.com, surprisingly enough. I was able to get us on there, so you can listen to us on there. But better yet, just go to our website at intouchwithios.com, where all the links to all the ways to listen to us are there. I am Dave Ginsburg, and you can find me on Twitter @DaveG65. And Guy, thanks again for being on the show. We always love having you. And tell us where we can find you.
Oh my goodness. Guy@mymac.com is the email address. Guy's Daily Drive, In Touch. Sorry. Why would I say In Touch with iOS? Guys Daily Drive, Mac to the Future, and the MightyMic.com podcast I do with Gaz are the 3 different podcasts that I do. There's, of course, also the Tuesday night meetup with Chuck that both you and I and occasionally Warren sometimes will contribute to. My Twitter, I have 2 different Twitter accounts. I have VertShark and as well as Mac Parrot. VertShark.com is the website. You can help support my ever-growing microphone obsession by going to patreon.com/MacParrot, ko-fi.com/MacParrot, or you can pay a pal at paypal.me/MacParrot. And I also have a YouTube channel, which is just go there and look up VertShark. It'll all show up there. And make sure that you like, share, subscribe. You see it the first time? Like, share, subscribe. All you got to do. It's so easy.
All right. Thanks for being here, Guy. And Warren, anything going on in Mac to the Future this week worth noting?
I'm not even going to check. I'm going to go straight to the Behringer Manual page and start from there. So who knows? That's where you'll find me the next 2 days reading up on this stuff. So.
No, if anybody doesn't know, we I'm calling it we swapped crap. You sent me stuff. I sent you stuff, and I knew you've been wanting to get a new mic and a new mixer and get into our world. So, we knew you'd be learning. So,
I had no idea what I was getting into. This thing looks like it was like one of those book manuals that used to come with cars.
It'll take a little getting used to, but. Appreciate everybody listening. I hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll talk again soon.